In this episode, we're going to unpack how you can grow your sales business without spending more on marketing, but absolutely increasing your top and bottom line along the journey. Welcome to Sales Growth Made Simple, the show helping 7 to 8 figure trade, construction and industry sales and business leaders finally end the stress of inconsistent sales by simplifying your sales systems so your team can close more deals and grow faster. I'm your host, Ben Wright, a leader who has been building businesses and sales teams just like you for the last 20 years. In this episode, we're going to unpack the challenges that every trade and sales leader and business leader, in fact, that I've worked with has had to focus on across their journey, and that is growing sales. And we're going to look at 3 levers you can pull to grow your sales without needing to invest more money in marketing, without needing to pull money or cash out of your bank, right? And without needing to worry about the quality of leads that you're generating. So let's dive straight into it. We want to make this nice and short and sharp on a Friday. But there are 3 ways that I see businesses really actively grow their sales. And when I say really actively, I'm talking about double-digit growth here. And I want you to have a think for a moment that what would double-digit growth mean to your business this year? What would 10% growth at a baseline mean to how your business looks in 12 months' time? If you're turning over $3 million and you can generate another 10% this year, another $300,000 without more marketing costs, so it is simply gross profit that can flow the majority of it straight to the bottom line, what does that do for you? What does that do in terms of changing your business, in terms of changing how many staff you can put on, in terms of changing profits that you can generate out of it, in terms of your life? What does that extra cash mean for you? Is that money that becomes available to putting kids into different schools or new opportunities or extending a house or going on holidays or quite simply putting in the bank to pay down on your mortgage? I want you to think about that as you go through this process, because my experience says that when we can leverage, and I'll be really clear that when we can leverage the purpose for us as business owners to something very personal, we are far more likely to roll it out. So let's look at these 3 options. Number 1 is variations. Variations is far and above one of the most effective ways I see businesses grow revenue without marketing. Now, we spoke about variations back in episode 199 and not being a business that deliberately quotes low, leaves out prices and hits customers with variations that you knew about each and every time. But what we talk about here is variations that we can be rolling out with our customers that either highlight early potential project variations so that when they do come about, we don't have significant conflict with our customer. 2, increasing in scope of variations so that when we are with a commercial business and we are designing a new fit out and we logically see some extensions to that mid-project, we roll them out. Or number 3 is the extension of projects. Once we finish, we're at a residential house, we have just gone and developed, we've rolled out some new windows for that house that we suddenly see they have some really old louvers there that now look out of place and we need to go and replace those too. So variations is number 1. Super effective way to grow a business. If you can have a 10% variation from 30% of your customers, there's 3% business growth, just like that. 3% business growth if you simply have 10% from 1 in 3 customers. The second one here is referrals. So asking for customers, and again, we spoke about referrals back in episode 198, but asking for customers if they know anyone else that would be interested in talking to you, either at the time of sale, at the retention point, so when they've just started to see the benefits of what you're doing, or once the project's completed, right? But asking them if they can introduce you to someone else that they know. Now, if you can get a referral from 10% of your customers and 1 in 3 of those close, there's another 3% top line onto your business. Only 10% of your customers giving you a referral and only 1 in 3 closing, and I'd argue that you can certainly get more than 1 in 3 from referrals. There's another 3% growth to your business with 0 cost. And the third one here comes down to repeat business. So this is going back to customers to ask them to do more work with you. Regardless of what industry you're in, there is almost always ways you can go back to the customers to ask for more business. If you're in Windows, right, and you've gone and done a whole lot of new windows in your house, it's very rare that I see in a business or a residential house, they replace all the windows. There's almost always opportunities to do more down the track. If it's a new build in a customer and you've done the windows with them, there are extensions down the track. There are buying investment properties down the track. There are times when they sell and they're buying new houses. And again, and look, for me, this one's really, really simple, right? So if 1 in 10 of your customers come back for the project, right, and that project's only half the size, right, so it's only 50% of the value, right, then there's 5% growth for your business. 1 in 10 customers come back for a project that's 50% of the size. Now, those 1 in 10 customers don't have to come back every year, but each year we've got to have 1 in 10 of those return. That's it. It's as simple as that. We get 1 in 10 come back with a project that's 50% of the size. There's 5% in business growth. So if we add those numbers up, 3% growth in variations, 3% growth from referrals, and 5% growth from repeat business, there we have 11% growth for our business from some very small numbers and very easy questions. I'd certainly argue that if you just did one of those on its own, that if we went out for variations and we had 50% of our customers had their projects grow by 20%, well, there's our 10% variation. If we had 1 in 3 of our customers offer referrals and we closed 1 in 3 of those, there's 10% there. If we had 50% of our customers come back for a project that was 20% the size of what they did the first time, there's 10% growth there. These are really easy levers that you can pull to be growing your business without having to spend money on marketing. Again, I want to repeat as we finish up today that it is very, very rare that I work with a business that does this. Occasionally I see one doing one of those or even 2 of those, but never do I see one doing all 3, particularly around referrals and repeat business. So there's an opportunity in there for you to grow. It's with you today to have a think about which of those levers you could do better at or simply just roll out to your business. It's very much in that 1% better everyday approach. That's what I'd love you to live and be grateful for you to roll out and implement from today. That is it for today. Really looking forward to our podcast next week. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye for now.